It is currently Friday evening here in the Philippines as Paeng, also known as Nalgae internationally, continues to strengthen and nears landfall. Winds now up to 75 kilometers per hour, pressure down to 994 hectopascals in the storm system. But the big thing I do want to note is look at the satellite imagery, all that convection stretching well across most of the Philippines, which is why we have already been seeing images like this coming out of Leyte. You have some severe flooding there, even further towards the west across parts of Cebu. Over the last few days, heavy rainfall has been taking place with serious flooding as well as far south as Mindanao. Now, the center of circulation is right in about here, moving off towards the north and west as this continues to wrap up. The good news, despite the fact, this has been bringing heavy rainfall across the Philippines, this is providing a bit of land interaction and some friction to keep it somewhat disrupted as it nears the coastline, meaning that we are not seeing that rapid intensification that very well could be possible if this was just a few hundred kilometers removed further towards the east. Bad news is that disruption is the result of friction, which is the result of all that heavy rainfall coming down out here. Despite that, though, it is still organizing. This is just from 24 hours ago to now, and you still have more of that circular shape into the storm. Really is getting a bit stronger, and I think that a typhoon at landfall is not likely, but it's not a 0% chance just because of those warmer sea surface temperatures out there, and if this wraps up just enough. But it doesn't seem likely, at least at this point. Severe tropical storm, though, at landfall for sure as we go ahead through tonight. I mean, we're right near landfall. This just skirting the northern coast of Samar, coming on shore there, actually just towards the west of Catanduanes, right over the Mayon volcano, in fact, and just trekking right along southern Luzon, passing over the NCR. Now, by the time it gets off into your direction, probably going to be just a bit weaker, but that doesn't mean by any means it will be weak. We're still going to be looking at some nasty weather over the Metro Manila area, especially those winds that wrap in from the west as it kicks on by, and then passing just over towards Pangasinan. Heavy rainfall could even be into the the Magat Dam. Get that right, Mayon's down here, Magat Dam, with that heavy precipitation. They haven't had to release water at this point, but something you want to watch out for our friends out there into the Cagayan Valley as well. And then our storm could turn towards the north, eventually kicking off towards Taiwan and maybe the southern Japanese islands. The center line is important, but I want to continue to say that wide range of impacts everywhere here in the red. Still looking at that heavy rainfall as this moves off towards the north and west. We're talking about parts of northern and central Luzon, southern Luzon, Bicol, parts of Visayas. This is going to continue to bring that heavy rainfall with that threat of landslides as well. So just be sure to watch out for those heavy rain warnings, not just the signal force warnings with this particular storm system, because some of those areas you could be under signal force 1 but under a red level rainfall warning, which definitely could be pretty serious. I usually don't show the signal force warnings because maybe by the time you're watching this update, these could change. It's one thing I don't like about them. They do change from hour to hour just based on how close the storm is to you. But signal force 2 has been raised for the Metro Manila area. All right, so let's take a look at that forecast as we go ahead through the rest of your Friday evening. Now look at all that banding continuing to wrap in around this storm system. This is right around landfall at 9 o'clock, as I mentioned, just right next to Legazpi, skirting the northern coast of Samar here. Look at the bands, though, stretching all the way back as far south as Cebu, pulling in there across parts of Leyte. You got Tacloban right in there. You're going to be looking at some of those bands through your Friday evening. And then back towards the north, of course, we have some pretty decent banding setting up as far as north as Isabela, Casiguran, stretching down through Rizal, and really most of southern Luzon. You're going to get some of those decent bands come through as well. Remember, the winds can change drastically just ahead and during those bandings, just because each of those kind of compress the pressure gradient just a bit. So it might be okay. Might see a little bit of rain, and then those come through. They bring those vortices, which can even carry some micro tornadoes in there as well. So these are some of the impacts I really want you to keep in mind as you set up there. But also the big issue is just those rain bands wrapping around, and you get kind of a training effect not only on the east coast but also the west coast over towards Mindoro, with some heavy precipitation continuing there. This is going to kick right over the NCR. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to be getting full-on typhoon conditions, but definitely there's going to be enough here to cause some superficial damage at the very least. Some lighter structures could be kicked up here, but also you have the winds, which I always worry about when they start to wrap out on shore like this. Now, on our last storm, we were a little bit fortunate. It didn't hit during high tide, but if this does, then we could even see some coastal flooding into the Metro Manila area. But the highest of the winds likely going to be out near the coast. Places like Crigador definitely will be feeling it there as well. Now, it's going to pull away here as we go ahead through Saturday night into Sunday morning, but still got some of that trailing showers on the backside of it as this kicks off there towards the west. So that's just a look at what you're looking at right now with this storm system. The bigger picture, of course, here comes that. I also have been asked a few times about this. I'm not focused on it right now, but there is a separate low pressure area we're going to watch here for possible impacts into Mindanao by the mid and latter part of this upcoming week. And just another reminder, of course, the winds, the center line is very important, but a lot of us still looking at some significant rainfall with this one as we go ahead over the next few days too. So flooding is definitely going to be a factor. And I mean, this is just throughout the day here on our Saturday. Cagayan de Oro 30, Tacloban at 29 degrees, Metro Cebu at 28, Legazpi 29. Temperatures don't really matter though when you're talking about this much rain. This is not one of the first times I've used this particular map just showing what the rain is like during a full-on typhoon, and boy, it really is. You can't see much of anything out here, and that's how it's going to feel right on the ground with that heavy precipitation. Could be looking at whiteout conditions, especially along the East Coast, and even heavier showers back towards the north here on our Saturday. All right, that's a look at everything going on out there today. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please let me know. Doing my best to get back to everybody, but I just make sure you check out Western Pacific Weather on Facebook too. We got a few people there updating and answering questions as well. All right, guys, that's a look at everything going on out there today. Of course, as always, stay safe out there. I have another update soon too.